cannot recommend Carnival Cruises to special needs families. I just can't. My heart broke when I heard a mom on TikTok say she missed traveling and she doesn't travel anymore because she has a son with autism. And I'm like, baby, me too. We take autism, we pack it in our carry-on, and we take it all over the world. My son has been on so many different continents. He has so many passport stamps, more passport stamps than your average adult. Like, we go all over the world and we usually have a really great time. So when I was invited on a Carnival cruise, I was like, heck yeah, this will be my first experience being able to share with her. Oh yeah, you could travel with autism and have a great time. But instead, this trip kind of taught me why other autism parents decide to just stay at home. I had really high hopes. So when you go on the site to book your cruise, the first thing it has you do is let them know if you have a guest with special needs or any allergies, what type of, cognitive deficits they may be experiencing. And so I thought, yes, they know their stuff. Let's do this. So since they ask about what needs you have, I thought, okay, they're prepared. They deal with this all the time. Everything's going to be perfect. So the first hiccup that made me feel like, maybe this is not going to be quite right is after you book and you log on, it'll say, hey, someone in your party has a disability. Make sure you email access and let them know what your needs are. And I emailed them and I let them know I will need waterproof bedding in case there are any accidents. Any honor bar in the room, I need it to be removed. And then the last thing I reminded them of is that he has a shellfish allergy. So I sent off that email and I just expected a standard 10-4, got your email, thanks for letting us know. Even if they had to let me know, okay, we don't have waterproof bedding, you're gonna have to bring your own, that would have been perfectly perfect because I always have extra. So instead of getting that 10-4 email that I was expecting, I got crickets. They never responded to my email, but I was thinking, oh, maybe they don't respond. They just kind of put it in the notes and everything will be fine. Don't freak out, right? Day of the cruise come, it's an evening embarkation. We arrive and they don't have, like at the airport, my son doesn't have to wait in line because, he has autism, he has loud vocal stems, he has a hard time standing still. So when we go through TSA, they snatch us out the line, we go right through, everything's fine. At the cruise line, they don't have that. So we had to wait in the standard line. It's not the end of the world. But one issue is he has loud vocal stems, and American culture, unfortunately, they don't like people who are different. So while we're in the line, we're getting stared at and people are looking and tapping their friend. So I really hate that. I'm getting used to it, sadly, but I really don't like that. So, it's not the end of the world. Still ready to have a good time. And then at the end of the line, they have like a whole bunch of drug dogs, like about like 6 drug sniffing dogs, like K9 units with their cops, with their guns and all that. And of course I don't have any drugs on me, but it's very uncomfortable. And my son has a really love-hate relationship with dogs. Like, he loves dogs and he walks right up to them and he runs away from them because it's like he loves them but he's scared of them. He loves them but he's scared of them. So, as he goes through the dogs, like he freaks out, start covering his ears, and he's just very uncomfortable. And it would be nice if like the airport, they had something separate so that autistic kids can kind of go in a less stimulating environment to go through their screening. So we get on the boat and we're lucky because our room is already ready. So we go up to our room, drop off our luggage, and then we go to the Lido deck to have some food. They have hamburgers there. They were pretty good, French fries. So our kids eat and they see the pool and the jacuzzi, and my son's like, I want to go swimming, I want to go swimming. We went upstairs, got on our swimsuits. It's still pretty early in the season, so it was quite cold. So everybody's in the jacuzzi, nobody's in the actual pool. And it's like really packed in the jacuzzi. So I let my kids get into the jacuzzi and my son's extremely happy. He loves water. And he's like trying to swim even though there really isn't room to swim. So I'm like, tell him, stay over here. Don't get too close to that. Watch where you're going. Don't bump into them. And I'm like really having to, make sure that he's not, bumping into the other kids. And this part is 100% an American culture problem, not a Carnival problem. This is not Carnival's fault at all. But the kids were very unkind to my son after they found out that he was different and that he wasn't behaving in a way that they expected. Side note, make a play date with an autistic kid so your child can be used to vocal stems when they hear it and be used to kids that may act a little different, to make the world a better place. It was really hard to see kids reject my child in real time. It hurt really bad. So I kind of had to be a helicopter mom and say, come over here, let's be in this little corner over here, let's just hang out over here. And then the other parents started noticing how much of a helicopter mom I was, and parents of neurotypical kids don't really understand why. So then they start to stank face me like, why are you doing the most and blah blah blah, and like then they start looking at my son and looking at him crazy. And I could have sworn I saw this woman start to film. And I couldn't take no more. So I said, okay, kids, let's go. It's time to go. So I got out the jacuzzi. We went back up to the room and I had myself a little cry. I tried not to. I tried to hold it together, but yeah, it's hard. it's really hard. And I think those are the moments that made that mom say, I just don't travel with my autistic child. And that's not my usual experience, but that was my experience that day. So after I had myself a good little cry, I went out into the hallway and I asked the attendant about the waterproof bedding that I had requested. And he looked at me like, So one, I will say that Carnival staff had been amazing the entire time. This is not a dig against the staff. They were phenomenal. They really have a kind staff. So he was like, I don't know what you mean. I didn't, get that notification, but I'll find you something. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I also noticed that the honor bar was still there, but luckily they had shelves. So I was able to just take the stuff from the honor bar, put it on the high shelf so my son couldn't reach it. So that solved that problem. The rest of the night, he didn't come back with the waterproof bedding, but the next day he did. So luckily, first night, we didn't have any accidents. All's well that ends well. And I do also pack Chucks with me. Formal dinner was lovely. We went back to our stateroom and called it a night. Day 2, we landed in Catalina Island. Cruise ships can't go all the way to Catalina Island. They kind of stop in the middle of the ocean, and then you have to take like a little ferry to get to shore. To get on the ferry, there was a very long line. So it was deja vu. We wait in a long line. My son has loud vocal stems. People stare at us and make us very uncomfortable. And it wasn't a short line. It took about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes to get through the line to get to the ferry. We had a great time on Catalina Island. We took the little yellow submarine tour and got to see fish. Sea creatures is my son's special interest, so he liked it. We got something to eat, did a little shopping. It was like a nice little excursion. A little bit more what I'm used to when it comes to taking a vacation with my son. We left a little early to beat the line going back on the ferry, so the wait was not too bad. Something amazing happened. A school of dolphins came by and were jumping out of the water for a good long while. And so the ferry kind of had to stop, which is so perfect. My son's special interest is sea creatures. He loves it. He's obsessed. So he had an amazing time. The ferry had to stop and let the school of dolphins go by and kind of go around them and all that kind of stuff. So we got to see the dolphins for a long time. So that was probably one of the best moments on the trip. Getting to see those dolphins, it was great. We get back on the boat. Now for this part, I understand the why, but it still doesn't feel good. We use the bathroom trash can to discard of a diaper. And the next day we come in there and they have a red biohazard bag in the bathroom trash. And I know for a fact that if I was a mom with a baby, they would put a regular trash bag in there. But because my baby's diapers are a little bit bigger, then all of a sudden you're gonna use the medical biohazard trash bags? I'm sure a lot of the trash cans have blood in it. Not mine. But I'm the one that needs the biohazard. And maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm being a little sensitive, but I just feel like that's a little shady. So after Catalina Island, it was captain's dinner. So we got dressed up in our formal attire, had dinner, and we also took pictures afterwards. It was really nice. Nothing crazy happened, and we called it a night in our stateroom. Day 3, we went to Ensenada. In Ensenada, we took a bus to another bus that took us to La Bufadora. And there they have this like flea market, and they also have the blowhole, which is like, it's called a marine geyser. And there's only 3 in the world. It's really cool. It was really nice. And we also went to a restaurant and we ate and we had some really good food. I had steak and lobster, really good. And the Cokes, the Mexican Cokes, they're built different. They're so good. And the waitress was so nice and kind to our kid. She didn't look at him crazy. She didn't act like she didn't want to serve us. It was pleasant. When we got to Ensenada, I felt like, oh, this is the vacations I'm used to. And I will die on the hill that you will be more comfortable with your autistic child in a Latin American country, a Pacific Island country, than you will in the United States. People don't stink face your child in these other countries. But in these other countries, they've always been, they didn't have any special hospitals and schools where they ship their kids off and act like they didn't exist. So nobody stares at my child in Mexico. Nobody stares at my child in Costa Rica. Nobody stared at my child in Micronesia. My child was just a child there. You know, it's no big deal elsewhere, but in America, we treat special needs people like crap. And we need to work on that. So we take the first bus back and it takes you to downtown Ensenada. We also walked around downtown Ensenada for like a couple minutes and went to a food truck. And I saw a street vendor with Down syndrome. And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, she's taking part in society. She's street vending like everybody else. And I'm like, we could learn a lesson. We really could. So we get back to the boat and we skip formal dinner. Instead, we go to the buffet. We eat, we have a good time, and my son wants to get back in the water. I didn't want to go through that again. My husband said he was willing to take them, so he took them, and he said this day it was a little less crowded, so it went a little bit better. So they went to the jacuzzi, had a good time, and we called it a night. Day 4, final day. It's fun day at sea, which basically you just kind of bob in the middle of the ocean for the whole day, and you could just take advantage of the on-ship amenities, right? So for this last day, we wanted to take the kids to the kids club, let them enjoy spending time with other kids, and then let us have like a couple minutes of adult time, be in the 21 and up section, and just, you know, enjoy life a little bit. So we go to the desk to check the kids in, and we let them know, okay, this is my son, he has autism, it should be in your notes, and also a shellfish allergy. It says on the website that they take kids with autism, so imagine my surprise when the clerk says this isn't a Disney cruise. And he didn't say it to be nasty or to be rude, but just to let us know, like, they don't have the same resources as Disney, and basically if he don't act right, he can't stay. In a kind, gentle way. He was kind, he was gentle, no shade to this man. But just to let us know that, you know, he won't have one-on-one support. They don't have that kind of training to take care of kids with special needs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so why does the website say that I can bring him? Maybe because it made me book? And I really thought my son was going to be fine because we take him to children's church and he's able to stay the entire time, and we don't even pay them. You know, that's a free service. And they still welcome my son and let him stay in children's church and learn the word, and they don't kick him out. So imagine my surprise when about 20 minutes after I drop the kids off, I get a call. You got to come get him. And I'm like, what did he do? You know, I was like, okay, I'll come get him. So I get out of the hot tub that I had been in all of about 5 minutes, and I go get my child. You tell me I gotta come get him, I'll come get him. So when I came and got him, I said, what happened? You know, what was he doing? Because if he's like hitting kids or doing something off the wall, I need to know, because I need to talk about, you know, that to his care team. I need to let his therapist know. I need to let his doctors know. I need to let everybody know, you know, what is his behaviors. And they were like, oh, he went into the other room. He went into the next room. That was his crime. That got him kicked out of Kids Club. When you advertise that you accept autistic kids in Kids Club. Now, if my child is out here wilding out, hitting people, absolutely kick his little butt out. I'll come get him, and I'll let him know we keep our hands to ourselves. You know, that I could understand if he was like having behaviors that was a threat to himself or others. Yes, let me come get him. But because he walked into another room, you just didn't want to deal with an autistic child. Just say that. Just say that. What I took as a personal slap in the face when I went to go pick up my autistic child is I see this sign that says, oh, pick up your sensory kits here, because we're sensory friendly. Because we use buzzwords to make it seem like we're inclusive without actually having to be inclusive in real life. Marketing tool. Marketing tool. Book with us, spend your money with us, but don't expect us to actually be what we say who we are. Don't expect that. Gotta love it. Fighting back tears again, because the world rejects my autistic son again. So I pick up my child. I let my daughter stay. I take my son to go get some food, and we're in the restaurant having food, and what pops up but a humpback whale. So I'm like, maybe it was just meant to be. Maybe he was meant to get kicked out. So he really enjoyed being able to see the whale. It jumped up a couple times. Luckily, my nephew was on the boat with us, so he was able to watch the kids so that we could have one night to be out as adults, and we was able to hit up the comedy show. It was hilarious. After that, we went and listened to some music, so we did get to have some adult time. So we did have a really, really good time, and I really wanted to have positive things to say about Carnival Cruises. I started vlogging for the purposes of saying, hey, we took a Carnival cruise with our autistic child, had a great time. You guys should come. That was my whole purpose in recording bits and pieces of my vacation, but of course, it didn't go that way. But yeah, this is not to bash them. They do a lot of things right. I can't imagine what it's like to feed all of these people, you know, usher these people here and there there and do everything that they do. They do a phenomenal job. Just accessibility is not one of those jobs they do in a phenomenal way. And I just have to be honest with the community. No hate to Carnival. I'm sure it's great for most people, but if you have a child with special needs, I can't recommend you take a Carnival cruise with them. So I give Carnival Cruise Line a 1 out of 10 for accessibility, because they are not. Happy Autism Awareness Day to all my autism mamas and everybody all over the spectrum, all over the world. I love you. Bye.